All right, Cougars, for Tuesday's workout, we have a workout called 32 pack. Instead of our normal 6 pack, we're working on a 32 pack. Anyways, this workout is going to be a Tabata workout. For those of you that have the WOD timer on your phone downloaded, or Trifecta, it kind of just depends on which timer you're using for CrossFit. They're free, look them up on the apps. But a Tabata is traditionally 8 rounds. During that 8 rounds, it's a timer clock that's specifically set to 20 seconds of work that you do with 10 seconds of rest. So for this workout, you're meant to kind of do it either in regards to the 8 rounds of how it's written, in order, that's how it's written, or you can just get it all done at once. I recommend to do how it's written. So what that means is for 20 seconds, you're gonna do a left arm, single arm plank, and then you'll rest for 10 seconds. You'll go into glute bridges, then rest for 10 seconds. Then you'll go into your right arm, single arm plank, rest for 10 seconds, and then you'll go into flutter kicks. Because that's only 4 movements or 4 rounds, you would repeat that again. Thus equaling 8. However, because it's really meant to be written as 8 rounds each, it really means then that technically you do this and you do this, and then it's 1. You do this, then you do this, that's 2. You do this, that's 3. So you can see how this can get very lengthy. So that being said, hence the number 32 pack. It also equivalates into the amount of rounds that's going to be done. Please make sure that you know that you're just mindful. Go with the progressions that you can on here and go for the longest amount of time that you can. The goal is, again, if you can get basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of that done, that's 1 round. You would still have 8 more, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. But do it for as long as you want. First movement, that single arm plank, I would start on the weaker side. So typically just right arm, left arm. Pick your non-dominant side. So for left arm plank, you can do it 2 different ways. We can go into a high plank, which we're gonna go ahead and stack the hand directly underneath the shoulder, split the hands. A modified version is going to be just like this, where I have the split legs here. The second version of this is going to be stacked, which is hips are high and everything nice and tight. This is, again, where shoulder is directly over my palm. This is a more difficult position. Opening that leg up, whoa, you can see the balance there is really gonna take some technique there. And so you guys can decide to have that as something more of a challenge for you. If you are starting to find a lot of wrist fatigue, sometimes people have a tendency to find that, especially if they don't have good flexibility in their wrists, you can go ahead, grab a little foam pad, and you can use these and place them on the ground and perform side elbow plank. So I'm just gonna come down to that 90-degree angle. My shoulder is stacked directly over the top of my elbow. Hand is typically going to be placed flat on the ground for support. And I can, again, same thing, stack those feet side to side for a little bit more stability, pressing that hip high to the sky. I can stack those feet, still thrusting the hips high to the sky to provide, again, a harder movement, or I can lift that leg up to make it even more difficult. What we don't want to see is the hip disconnected from the spine, meaning I'm saggy and I'm low. If I were to kind of do this in that side version, we're trying to give you a profile view. Again, same thing. We're not looking for you to be in a saggy position with those hips. We're looking for everything to be in a nice stacked position. For the second movement, you can grab any weight you have around the house. It's gonna be those glute bridges. If you find that your lower back is bothersome, use one of those pads on your lower back. You're more than welcome to also place a pad up on the belly area and place any weight you have to make this movement a little bit more difficult. So I have a kettlebell weight here. You can use a rack. You can use a gallon water jug. You can use books, whatever you want. Without weight, you're gonna lay on the ground. Remember, those shoulders are gonna be nice and flat to the mat. We're gonna go ahead and minimize any amount of area or space beneath my lower back. I'm gonna hug my heels in nice and tight to the bottom. I'm just going to squeeze the butt up nice and tight for the glutes to work. My quads are also working here by providing weight into heels. Notice that again from my knee down to my heels, I'm at about a straight 90-degree angle. What we don't want is feet too far out in front. What we don't want is your heels too far back and then my knees are over my toes. So we're looking for that 90-degree angle. Again, we talked about how you could place a band around your upper thighs, right past the knees, and you can drive those knees apart and squeeze at the same time and slow on the way down, and you would probably have really good glute bridges here. For this glute bridge, this is not a repetition. It is not continuous. For the 20 seconds, you're gonna squeeze and hold for 20 seconds. So you might decide to do this with weight or without weight, but you can add that lower weight right down on the lower hip flexors, squeeze the butt as tight as you can, and again, maintaining shoulders and head on the mat. You're gonna squeeze and hold for 20 full seconds. As soon as you've completed your glute bridge, you're gonna go into that opposite arm side plank. Again, same thing, depending on how your wrist is. My wrist is kind of on a healing of a mend right now. So whatever I did on my left side though, I wanna make sure I match on my right side. So again, I wouldn't start on a high plank, and if, oh yeah, I can't do high plank over here, I don't wanna just do a low plank on this side. So make sure that you're matching on both sides, whatever you're going to do. Again, for that plank, you're gonna hold a single arm for the 20 seconds and then going into your final movement. Final movement is gonna be flutter kicks today. So flutter kicks, we are looking for, again, something maybe to be placed on that lower back for those of you that have some lower back issues, just to provide a little bit of kind of structure and support. Go ahead and lay all the way down. We're looking for nice, beautiful line here of toes and heels touching, straight legs and flexing quads so that we know that you are active in the lower body. With these flutter kicks, you can plant your hands on either side of your lower back, but the goal would be is to, again, make sure I can't slide a hand underneath my lower back. I'm trying to compress my abdominals or my back to the ground. With shoulders slightly elevated, you can pick feet up. We're in this hollow position, and I'm going to flutter kick for 20 seconds. This is kind of considered already the advanced movement. So if you're having difficulty with this, I do recommend taking shoulders down to the mat, planting hands, but still ensuring that you're depressing the belly and using your abdominals down to the ground so that there's no gap, and you can still flutter kick. If it's still difficult and we can't get our legs up, we're gonna bend our knees this time to make it easier, and I'm gonna pick my feet up, and with bent knees, still flutter kick. The goal is now I'm still doing this isolated crunch with a little bit of hip flexor movement, so we're getting double the work, okay? So again, this is 8 rounds of each movement, but I don't recommend getting all 8 rounds of just one side of your arm, single arm plank completed. I would actually go through it in order. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks, Cougs.